Hey guys, thank you for watching the Slat Rock channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And if you've already done so, just make sure that it's still active. Here's your news for September 20th, 2019. We're starting with some news from NXT, as the brand's leader Triple H has revealed details about the reaction backstage to the recent relaunch on the USA Network. As far as ratings go, NXT knocked it out of the park, and one person who was very pleased with what he saw was company CEO Vince McMahon. During an interview, the game was asked what feedback he had received from Vince McMahon, with the 14-time WWE World Champion responding that his father-in-law was very excited about the show, saying, "I received a bunch of texts from him throughout the day, excited to see it, and wishing us luck, especially as it got close. He was sending me little texts counting me down. 20 minutes, which I thought was great. It was just fun. Then he sent me a few texts after the show. He watched the entire thing. I'm sure he was at the office, probably in a meeting while he was doing it, but he enjoyed it, he loved it. He thought the talent did a hell of a job and thought they knocked it out of the park. He was excited. He sent me a massive congratulations after it was over and was thrilled with the product." Though fans have feared that McMahon will get too involved in the yellow brand, it seems the boss is keeping his distance, and Triple H said that Vince is a fan of the differences between all brands, comparing it to people who like different genres of music. Speaking of NXT, the game was certainly a busy man this week, as he also found time to host a special conference call where he discussed the condition of Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa, who forfeited the NXT title in March of this year due to an injury, is said to be very close to a return, according to the game. "He's ready, he's as close as he can get. He's the racehorse right now, stomping and pulling at that gate. When that doctor tells him to go, he's gonna come flying out of there." While Ciampa may be close to a return, one superstar who may be on his way out is Velveteen Dream, who has not been cleared after his title match on Wednesday. Dream, who lost the North American title to Roderick Strong, was seen, quote, "walking gingerly," and is reportedly dealing with lumbar pain after his match. The former champion wasn't the only one suffering after the show, as Arturo Ruas will reportedly get x-rays on his fingers after they were damaged by Pete Dunne in their match. Not only that, Kona Reeves suffered a nasty cut during his match against Damian Priest that will require stitches, and also suffered swelling under his eye after taking an elbow. Reeves reportedly may have orbital damage, but will need to be re-evaluated once the swelling goes down. Though things don't look good for these three superstars, Matt Riddle and Killian Dane are reportedly both cleared for the rematch on next week's show, after a wild street fight this week that saw the entire locker room get involved in the fray. More NXT news now, as Pro Wrestling Sheet reports that Joaquin Wilde, formerly DJZ, is set to undergo surgery for a broken eye socket he suffered in July. While this sounds bad, Wilde is only expected to miss a few weeks of action following the surgery. This injury explains why Wilde hasn't been seen on WWE TV for quite a while. We've got even more NXT news for you now, as the premiere episode on the USA Network drew 1.17 million viewers. Overall, NXT's debut as a live weekly show placed fourth among original cable broadcasts on Wednesday night, trailing behind American Horror Story on FX, as well as Basketball Wives and Black Ink Crew on VH1. For comparison, TNT, who will host AEW in the same time slot starting October 2nd, aired the Legend of Tarzan movie while NXT was on, drawing 671,000 viewers. Of the 18 to 49 demographic, NXT drew a .56 rating, while Raw and SmackDown Live drew a .89 and .78 respectively in the same demo this week. Comparing viewers, NXT struggled to compete with the two main brands, as the third hour of the September 10th episode of Raw drew 1.85 million viewers, while the lowest SmackDown viewing over the past 6 months took place on April 30th, though that still got 1.83 million. It'll be interesting to see where NXT goes from here, especially with the imminent launch of AEW Dynamite on TNT. Speaking of the new promotion, one AEW star who had harsh words for WWE this week was Kenny Omega, who commented this week about the war between AEW and NXT, though he said he didn't see much competition at all. "You can call it a war if you want. To me, we're in a completely different kind of business. What they're doing is different from what we're doing, and it's weird because it's hard to say that you're going to war with people that I call my friends, and yet we're going to war. Yet when I sit back and look at the grand picture, it's like I'm going to war with these dudes that if we were on the same show together, the same show with the same promotion, let's pretend there are no wars. Let's pretend there are no promotions. Let's just pretend there's one big promotion. And if they were on the same show as me, they'd be in the dark match, they'd be in the opening match, and I'm in the main event match. You gonna call that a war? You wanna call that competition? Go ahead. I mean, maybe that's fun for you to do, that's cool, but we're on different planets, and you're gonna see that right away when you see 10,000 plus arenas sold out. You're gonna see smiles on fans' faces, and you're gonna see real stars. Not developmental talent, but real stars there on your television sets every week. As you can imagine, many WWE superstars didn't take kindly to these comments by the cleaner, and it was Dominik Dijakovic who was the first to comment. The NXT star replied by bringing up some old history between them, and these comments will have no doubt lit a fire under Dijakovic ahead of his match against Keith Lee next week. In response, AEW executive Matt Jackson said Omega was free that weekend, but quickly deleted the tweet. We'll have to see what Dijakovic and Lee bring to the table on next week's NXT, but Omega certainly sounds confident in AEW's abilities as they approach October 2nd. When AEW launches its own show next month, Dynamite will be led by the company's world champion Chris Jericho, who continues to remain relevant decades after his wrestling debut. Jericho, who has constantly evolved himself over the years, recently came out with his "a little bit of the bubbly" line after winning the AEW World title at All Out last month, and the off-the-cuff comment quickly became a meme. It seems no one is safe from the best in the world at what he does, as the bubbly has even made its way into enemy territory in the form of a WWE Ticketmaster live event description. Now, if fans buy tickets for the WWE's upcoming shows, they'll be told that it's time to break out the bubbly because your tickets are ready. This is either a huge coincidence or an attempt at humor by Ticketmaster, but either way, it's a fun reminder that crossovers can still happen in the world of professional wrestling, and they're not always bad. Sticking with AEW now, as not only has the company trademarked the word Dynamite, but the term will be used for the weekly TV show on TNT. The first episode of Dynamite will air live on TNT from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, with the October 2nd launch in Washington, D.C. already having a stacked card. On the pilot episode, MJF will take on Brandon Cutler, while Cody Rhodes will face off against Sammy Guevara. Nyla Rose and Riho will battle to determine the inaugural AEW Women's Champion, while the company's world champion Chris Jericho will join two mystery partners to face off against Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. With such a stacked card, fans will have to wait and see whether the company can keep this momentum in the following weeks and months, as the war between AEW and WWE is seemingly ready to be taken to the next level. Back to NXT now, as one superstar who's certainly shown during the relaunched show was Lio Rush, who became the #1 contender for Drew Gulak's Cruiserweight title. Though Rush appeared on the show's second hour on the WWE Network, meaning many fans couldn't watch him due to technical issues, that doesn't take away from his huge win. Following the show, Triple H admitted they had been working on Rush's return for a while, and the September 18th relaunch seemed the perfect opportunity. He's just a phenomenal, energetic, and money performer to me. Thrilled that we get to put him on the show and have him showcase what he does. He and Oni tore it up, and that's what it's about. Despite having a rough 2019, with reports of backstage heat coming out, Rush's win this week is a great sign for his status in WWE, as it seems the man of the hour is here to stay. With Rush now having a shot at Gulak's Cruiserweight title, his win this week just goes to show you that you can never count anyone out in WWE. And finally today we're looking at Roderick Strong, as the new NXT North American Champion is already having fun with his new prize. On this week's show, Strong defeated Velveteen Dream to capture the title, and this win means that the Undisputed Era stable is now covered in gold on every member. Posing naked in a picture with nothing but sunglasses and the title over his crotch, Strong is clearly happy with his huge win, and older fans may even recognize this pose as a nod to Shawn Michaels. Michaels, who now works at the WWE Performance Center as a coach, did this very same pose when he was WWF champion when he posed for Playgirl magazine. Back then, the Heartbreak Kid held the WWF Winged Eagle title, though this isn't exactly a pose we want to see the 54-year-old Hall of Famer replicate. It's clear that Strong is already having a great time with his title, though hopefully he'll give the belt itself a wash before next week's edition of NXT, where the Undisputed Era will all be draped in championship gold.